Well, somebody who knows all of this very, very well is Peter McGuire. He's Chief Executive Officer at XM.com. Peter, good morning. Thanks for joining in. How significant is what happened yesterday? Because when I look at the prices, they seem more bothered about the slowing global GDP, because after being up 4.5%, they cooled off to end just about 2.5%. So how significant are these latest tensions and the US allegation on Iran?
Well, that's a very good point, and good morning. Look, I think majorly we are in that global macro data slowdown. It's not it's working through that whole process. But then, we had those strikes yesterday. The tanker was hit, and one of them interestingly was a Japanese tanker. And we had Abe, Prime Minister Abe, visiting Tehran yesterday. The first time a Japanese leader had been in Iran in 40 years. So there's that point. Very much it is a choke point. Strait of Hormuz is one of the most busiest waterways in the world as far as crude. And there's the next point. As the market goes up 4.5%, down 2%, bit of profit taking. Let's see what happens over the next 24 to 72 hours as far as US and where they place all this with Pompeo, and naturally I think President Trump will get involved.
Peter, I take on board the point. I mean, I think any of us trying to second guess what US might do over the course of the next 24 to 48 hours with Iran is purely speculation. But we have this chart made on Bloomberg which shows that how over the last 8 to 12 weeks, more often than not, despite some news flow, the global stress on the growth has weighed in on crude prices, and they've only come down despite OPEC's best efforts. Would you reckon that if this issue does not escalate further, chances of a material crude price upside are very, very minimal?
Yes, I agree 100%. I'll be in Abu Dhabi, and it'll be interesting. I'll be in there Monday and Dubai on Tuesday. Next week on my way to Vienna for the OPEC meeting. And that normally that week lead up, you don't get these sort of large geopolitical shocks entering a market. And if the market does escalate and we see further geopolitical uncertainty, then I think crude prices will rally higher. But if we don't see any further actions as far as tankers being hit or any missile attacks, then I feel as though you'll see a softness to the crude market and it will continue its downward slide. So that's the conundrum at the moment. And for mankind's sake, I hope we don't see any further shocks, but we're dealing with an uncertain element, and it always remains an unknown.
Yeah, I agree. So, Peter, just very quickly, I think OPEC, what it will do seems to be a foregone conclusion with the recent spates of news coming out. What's your prediction for what crude prices do if there is nothing unusual that happens in OPEC as well?
I think it's softness. I think that you'll continue to the downside. I wouldn't be surprised to take a 48 handle for WTI, 49. And I think that Brent will probably around about a 57, 58. And that'll take possibly a couple of weeks to work through. Let's just see where, OPEC will have its own views on this, and they're conscious as far as US and China trade talks, G20 coming up, and all of those major moving parts. So, again, it creates a level of uncertainty, and I feel as though there's more softness, and it's certainly a short trade unless you see, missile attacks and something ramp up there.
Appreciate you joining in, Peter, and giving us those insights. Thanks much for taking the time out.
Thank you very much.